for the Power Chat series with former host on Point Fighter Live, Jacob Neal. Jacob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about
Well, I'm
yourself?
happy to have you onto my show. We've never kind of swapped and been on each other's shows, so I'm excited for that today. We're here for the Mayan Challenge post show. Tell me how that went.
It went pretty good. My school did very well, or students, they did really well. My brother, he did good. Didn't pull out the win, but it was really close. So maybe next time.
So I have to be honest, my geography of Florida not the best. But this tournament was in Florida, and we can't go without saying that there was a huge hurricane affected a lot of people. Where geographically was the Mayan Challenge in relation to the devastation of Hurricane Ian?
The Mine Challenge was in Daytona, so it wasn't like the first initial hit, but I'm pretty sure I saw Daytona got pretty flooded out and damage was pretty major over there.
And so this actually happened before the hurricane, and so we can talk about the good that came right before this happened. How did you do yourself at the Mayan Challenge?
Well, at the Mine Challenge, I felt like I did great. I was kind of found this like new thing. I wasn't like as focused into it before, and then when I kind of focused myself, I was more how can I say? I guess more focused on my fighting than paying attention to other things. But on the first day, on Friday, we had open weight, and that division was pretty stacked. And I fought two of my teammates, and I fought Tyler Johnson, which me and him fight for finals all the time. But I ended up pulling out the win by 1 point. It went to next point wins, and then it went back and forth for a little bit, and then pulled out the win on for open weight. And then on Saturday, the first division. Oh no, there's only one division. My 14-15 black belt, and I got second in that division. But since I won open weight, it put me into grands because it was the Mayan. So I went into grands, and then I beat the person that beat me for first and second in division.
Great. Seems like it was a good long tournament, different rounds. How many people would you say were there? Was it a good turnout?
It was pretty big. It was definitely like hard to move through the doorways and stuff. So I would say it was a pretty good turnout.
That's always a good sign for the promoter, for the health of sport karate at the regional level. And the Mayan Challenge always brings out good competition. Like you said,
Yeah.
for your divisions as well. What were some of the other competitors that came out for this tournament?
There's some people from I think Puerto Rico. That was the person I had trouble with this weekend. There's a lot of people from over there, and then my team we got some new pickups, Team Diamond, Team G3. So it was cool to see some new teammates and have fun with the team. But I don't. There's a lot of people there I recognize because USA Sport Karate is like a normal reoccurring season type of thing. So you like go there twice a month and you see the people you normally see.
Yeah, so this I forgot to mention. This is a USA Sport Karate event, which means that it's held to a certain standard, and they do a great job of putting on frequent tournaments, especially in that area. That brings out good competition. Now, you also helped judge from
Yeah.
that perspective. How did the tournament run for you?
From that perspective, there wasn't any like like in forums, there's always like in NASCAR, I've seen plenty of like ties and stuff like that, and I didn't really see that at all this weekend. I mean, it may have happened, but I definitely wasn't there.
Hmm.
Um, and then, I mean, one thing I will say was weird was I was judging for on Friday. I was judging the people in forums that I ended up fighting, so it was a little different to watch and like to judge because you're kind of seated in a different position, I guess.
Oh
But
yeah, it's totally a different power dynamic,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
But then the people that you ended up fighting, it's just like you got to have a switch, right? An on and
Yeah.
off switch.
Right. Yeah. And USA Sport Karate, everybody's always friends. And after we fought, we went to the pool and hung out, went to the beach. It was fun.
That's awesome. And now you judge, so you didn't get to watch that many fights. But for anybody watching that wants to get a recap of the event, so Christian Rivas won men's overalls fighting, right?
Hmm.
And then also Ronald Zabala debuted for Team Velocity this past tournament at the Mayan Challenge. Ronald's a great fighter, and
Yeah.
you're probably well acquainted with Ronald, and maybe talk about his journey and seeing him get onto Team Velocity.
Ronald. So me and Ronald, I've talked with Ronald plenty of times. Like WKC, he was on
Mhm.
the same team USA as me, so we talked a little bit there. He actually watched my Grants fights, so that was pretty cool to watch. But when I was watching him fight, he was looking pretty good, look focused. Like ever since I think it was like a year or two ago, he just kind of started really focusing on getting that win, and he's looked like he could pull it off.
Yeah, and so he debuted on Team Velocity. Team Velocity also won teams and open weight, so they had a great showing at this past tournament. Also, Rashad Eugene competed. He's also a Florida boy, competes on the USA Sport Karate and also the local tournaments. Um, so, did you of the forms that you saw? How was the competition? Meaning
Oh,
the kids that you judged.
there's a well, first off, there's a lot of people in the forms division. Sometimes you don't see that all the time, but there is a lot of people there. Everybody's been stepping up their game. Like Tyler Johnson, for instance, his forms is really good, balanced with his fighting, and that's always pretty cool to see, especially coming from somebody that only does fighting. So there's
So,
a yeah.
no, go ahead, keep going.
And the kid I fought for like first and second in division. He won some forms. I forgot what division it was. I think it was traditional. I was judging him as well, so he looked really good.
Now, we've spoken about the competition, judging. For you, let's get a little bit more into you. Previous host on the Power or on the Point Fighter Live page. How have you been doing with martial arts and training?
I've been doing pretty well. I took a break from teaching, but I think that's all because I'm focusing on getting my black belt this December. So kind of keeping training and going to the gym and going to the karate school, just focusing to get that black belt and focusing to get more wins.
Every black belt testing process is unique to the school, to the instructor. Talk to me more about your instructor's philosophy and what you've been doing to get ready for this big test.
So me, both my instructors, John Curtolo and Christopher Rivas, we've been we train every Saturday. We go on a 2 or 3 mile run, depending. And mind you, this is all with kids like from ages to 6 to 40. So
Hmm.
every Saturday we do the run, and everybody does it. And then we train. I mean, sometimes it's a little hard to, I guess, I guess, how do I say it? Like, there's not a lot of big people there to fight, so I have to like can keep myself like in a zone to where I'm not. Oh, I'm just fighting little kids. I could slack off.
Hmm.
But all those trainings are always fun. And then we've been my curriculum based stuff. I don't do forms and tournaments, but I do forms. So I was working on that. And then the style I do Kempo, it's a really there's a lot of curriculum in it. So you got techniques, you got forms. So practicing all that as long as practicing my fighting because that goes with the test too. But they're getting me pretty prepared.
So you're in the 14-15 division. How long have you been in martial arts? What's your origin story?
I've been in martial arts for I think around 6 years now, almost 6 years. I started at 9 years old, and I was just kind of like going through it like a normal student. And then once I hit my purple belt, I think I started helping out teaching. I was like 10, 11 years old. I
Hmm.
heard- helped out teaching. I was doing teaching till well this year, and that was always fun to do, like give back. And that sometimes that was the best way to learn was to teach. So I did a lot of that, and then a lot of training with certain different people. Recently, I got put onto Diamond G3 and with Damian Rodriguez, and we always go train with him, and that's always fun. And we recently just got a merger with Coach Conroy's team, so two more coaches that will improve my skill. But other than that, nothing really has changed besides I keep getting the work in.
Yeah, and speaking of that merger, now how do you anticipate that influencing your fight game?
Well, I met Coach Conroy and Sam way before the merger happened because Mr. John, my coach, he was on their team for a little bit. But they always have good advice. I remember hanging out with Coach Conroy and Mr. Kelly at Pan Am's, and they're always a cool coach. So somebody I feel like I could talk to, but and that's always good in a coach. And then Damien, though, I've been training with him. I think we go down there at least once a month. I don't know about this month because of the hurricane, but it seems like the whole team's working together like a team.
Speaking of Pan Ams, that's one of the next upcoming NASCA tournaments at the end of this year. Do you plan on going to that?
I'm pretty sure I'll be there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so now, from now until whenever your next tournament is, what is it that I know you had a very successful tournament at the Mayan Challenge. So sometimes it's hard to self reflect on like what didn't work because it worked. But how are you feeling about going into the next competition? And what are some things that might be on your mind?
Well, I definitely gotta because everybody saw me fight now, so you always got to change it up a little bit every tournament just to see what they're not expecting, you know. But I definitely need to uh, work on changing it up because I feel like I was kind of doing like the same thing all tournament, like
Yeah.
staying on a straight line and all that. I mean, it worked out in the end, but I could definitely do better.
Okay. Well, that's the mindset of a champion, always wanting to do better, even if you win. So says a lot about you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Jacob, I really appreciate you coming on to the Power Chat series, and I look forward to having you back on. The next time you take home some wins.
I will expect to see you too.
Okay, all right, for everybody watching, thanks so much for watching the Power Chat series for the Mayan Post Show. It was a USA Sport Karate event. If you're in Florida, I hope that you're staying safe, and come again next time.
All right, power baby.